I'm David Corsi to the More Mammoth Musings blog. You've been trying to get on this blog for a little while.
Yes, I have.
And I appreciate your tenacity. You finally got through. And you're a candidate for the Republican nomination to run for Congress in the 12th District of New Jersey.
Yes.
You're seeking the Republican nomination to unseat the Democratic incumbent Rush Holt.
Right.
Good. So tell us, why do you want to be a congressman?
Okay, I'm running because, quite frankly, I and many other people have had enough. We have been watching this country wander more and more into socialism. Mm-hmm. They have a debt load right now on the books of $13 trillion. Right. They have no way of paying back. We have a tax code that's a mess. We have an immigration policy that's not working. We have just a bunch of socialist type people running this country. Now we're in a process of, after they've messed things up for the last several decades, now they've got to figure out a way to try to cover up their mistakes. And somebody has to go down there and point this out and show people that the emperor has no clothes. These folks are out there literally going to destroy American people's lives, liberty, and freedom.
Yeah, and as you said, a lot of people agree with you. But why you, and why do you want to go to Congress? Why? I mean, I agree with you, but I'm not running for Congress.
Because I feel I am the type of person who have no qualms about going there and stirring the pot. Not going to be a professional politician like you. I'm a small business owner.
Right.
And my interest really would be to get back home and run my business. But they keep encroaching on everything we do. And I feel morally obligated, going back to the tradition of George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, of citizen/statesmen, go in, put in their time, and then get back home and live under the laws they passed. Mm-hmm. Not have somebody go down here and spend 30, 40 years passing laws that they have no clue how they affect the American people.
I agree with all of that, but I still don't know why David Corsi wants to be a congressman.
Okay, my background is real estate investing, finance, and economics, so I understand how things work. I understand how legislation works. I'm the vice president of a group called the New Jersey Association of Real Estate Professionals. So I've spent quite a bit of time in Washington and Trenton, and I see how the operation, shall we say, for lack of a better word, works. And I feel that I am much better qualified to go down there with my background. I don't have the Wall Street background, which now is basically become in bed with the government. We've been told for years that, oh, Wall Street is a bunch of conservative free market capitalists. Well, Wall Street hasn't been free market and capitalist for years. Those folks are guys who are looking to protect their business while making deals with people in the government. Those deals are literally destroying this country, and that has to come to an end. I have more of a Main Street Tea Party type mentality, and that's why the campaign slogan we have is "Had Enough."
Yeah, but why do you want to be a congressman?
In what way?
Personally.
Personally?
Yeah.
I want to be there because what needs to be done, I do not see anybody else doing.
You don't think that? You don't think anybody else
that's running right now? No.
You don't see anyone else in the country or anyone else?
No, in my district. Oh, there are a lot of other terrific people in the country. You know, you have some good people in Congress right now. Unfortunately, they're a minority, and the Republican Party on a national level pretty much rolls over and plays dead. I'm not the kind of person who rolls over and plays dead. And that's why I want to go, because I'm tired of watching people who are supposedly going down there to fight for limited government and freedom. They go down there and they get seduced by this.
But David, what's in it for you?
What's in it for me?
Yeah.
The obligation that we carry on to our kids, the ideas that George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, all those people's ideals. When they started this country, there was no other country like it. We literally set up a government where every 4 years, government at the presidential level voluntarily goes either to be re-elected or goes back home. George Washington set a great example by that. Our representatives were supposed to go either every 2 years. In the Senate, it was every 6 years. Then you either stand for re-election and you go home. Never in their wildest dreams did they think somebody would be going there to spend 30, 40 years and become a bureaucrat and a lobbyist, or stay in office for 30, 40 years. They've created a
Is that
whole
really
sense
true?
of
I mean,
sure.
I mean, I don't know all my American history, but I think it was wasn't John Quincy Adams like president and
then he went back to the
Congress,
House, yes.
and then he was a judge. He was, I mean, his whole career was
John Quincy Adams was one fellow who went from the House to the presidency, and then he served in the House again. But he didn't do it solid. He did go home. He got reelected, but he would have been an exception. Yeah. Most of them, the idea of people going in and out of service isn't necessarily a bad thing, but when they're in the same position, we have congressmen who have been in office for 30, 40 years. We have people running finance and committees for 30, 40 years, created a mess, and now they sit around saying, well, we're the ones who need to reform it. You're the ones who created the problem.
Yeah, the term limit thing is interesting, and
I'm sorry, the term
limit.
Oh, yes.
Concept, and a lot of people are talking about it now,
yes.
And I've advocated in the past. But the other side of it then is, well, don't you then run the risk of the bureaucrats really running? Maybe the bureaucrats are already really running the government, but
there is a risk of that. But that again is life. You have to continue life. You continue to grow or you fade away. It's our job to elect people who believe in limited government. It's a never-ending process. It's like whenever you hear a politician make the inane comment, we are going to have a lasting peace. Art, there is no such thing as a lasting peace. You have to work and strive for it every day. Woodrow Wilson back in 1917 told us we're going to have a lasting peace. Then it became we're going to fight one war to end all wars. This is not going to happen. That's not human nature. Next year you don't know what your new set of examples will be and problems you'll have to deal with. So you take them as they come, but as Jefferson said, limited government is the best government because it escapes tyranny. Once you give somebody carte blanche to be down there for an unlimited time, eventually they start thinking of themselves as royalty. They think they have the divine right to that seat. They think that, they forget that they work for you. And that's what we have to remind them of. They work for the American people. Congress is not your boss. They're not my boss. Barack Obama is not your boss or my boss. We have a contractual relationship with them called the Constitution. These guys keep taking that contract and expanding it, and we're saying, wait a minute, we never agreed to that. And it's about time we reminded them of that fact.
Okay. And you said you're the only one who did it, and you talked about Wall Street, and really a veiled shot at your opponent.
Actually, no. No, Scott seems like a decent enough guy. We differ, but it's not necessarily at him. I'm talking about the fact that, what have you heard for years? Wall Street is free capitalist enterprise. For years, way before I've ever heard of Scott Supprell, I've been trying to explain to people, as I mentioned, I have a background in finance and economics. Wall Street hasn't been capitalist for years. When all those big corporations, what do? They have lobbyists down Washington. What are those lobbyists trying to do? Give them tax breaks and give them an advantage in their business. Is that really free market capitalism? No. They're looking for protectionism. They create their protectionism, they create their little wall, and then when the economy softens, they look to cover up their mess. The real estate crisis is a perfect example. We've been told, well, the problem was Wall Street wasn't regulated enough. There are over 50,000 pages of regulations already on the books when this Wall Street meltdown happened. Real estate in my business has been governed for years by regulation after regulation. Now they're sitting around making believe the problem was we needed more regulation. No, the problem was easy money supply, the fact that you had Congress through the Community Reinvestment Act looking to put people into home ownership. Again, it sounds noble and good, except what you're really doing is setting people up for failure. If someone has weak job history, poor credit, no money to put down, and then you're making believe that they're going to be able to afford, maintain, and keep that house, you're just setting those folks up for future failure. And that, to me, is what drives me probably the craziest about liberals. They love to portray that they're looking to help people. They're not looking to help people. They're looking to keep those people enslaved so they know that they can get their vote this time, the next time. Again, that's when they're there for 30, 40 years. What they're doing is destroying any hope these people have of improving their lives. And that, to me, is not acceptable.